All right, there we are. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everybody. Good to be here again. Another Thursday. Yeah, we actually didn't make it last week. Very much disappointed. But don't worry, guys. We're here. We're back. Very excited for this one. I am beyond thrilled with the panel that we have. I've been looking forward to speaking with a lineup like this for some time now. We'll go ahead and get situated, get everybody on board, and then we'll get started. But for everyone that's already here, a big welcome to you. As per usual, if you're absolutely new here, we host these spaces every single week. We bring on some amazing panelists, talk about crypto, everything that's going on in the market, everything that's relevant right now. Give as much education as possible, and lots of banter as well. To be completely honest with you guys. At the end of every space, we also run a quick little giveaway for everyone that's been there. So if you want to be eligible, just stick around, have a good time, grab a snack, put the stream on autoplay if you want. Put on your earbuds. Go do something fun if you like. And then in the next 50 minutes, we're gonna go ahead and hand out some prizes. Always fun. Would definitely recommend. All right, cool. I've been yapping for 3 minutes. Why don't we just go ahead and get started? I will run through some introductions first. But before anything else, I do want to say today's topic is going to be about blockchain security, in particular, quantum computing and AI. It's a topic that we should probably be talking more about, but with everything going on right now, I wouldn't blame us. That it hasn't particularly been hitting the front pages. There's plenty to talk about, if you will, for better and for worse. There's just too many headlines, but this is something that we have to cover. We haven't done it yet on the League of Traders show, so here we are. Why don't we get started with some introductions? I'm obviously not alone here. Asma, good evening to you. Hope everything is all right. Let's do a quick mic check.
Hi, Rick. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing good. What about yourself?
I'm not too bad. I do have a bit of a cold, so if I sneeze in the middle of a sentence, I am so sorry.
Why is everybody having a cold right now? It's
It's that time of the year. It's the pollen, the trees, the change of season. It's all happening.
It's the
You guys are
AI.
weak for the weak for the pollen.
Exactly that. But yeah, I'll go ahead and intro League of Traders for those of you who might not be familiar. Thank you for joining us today. So, as Rick has already said, we do this every week. And if you're unfamiliar, League of Traders is the leading social trading platform in Korea where our offices are located. And we are available as an app, or you can head over to our website, leagueoftraders.io, and to get the full 411. So we've got plenty of features like our multi-exchange portfolio, copy trading, and League of Traders can be your best friend as a trader. And we are also the home of the Trader Map, which is basically a fun event where we have users competing to see who creates the most trading volume for a specific token. And we've had a lot of great success with that. We are on a little bit of a pause right now with certain Trader Map events, but um, we do have a smaller trader map running right now. I'll get to those details in just a second. But yeah, so we host these trader map events in partnership with the token projects and offer big prize pools to sweeten the deal, which is great because that means everybody's happy. The projects get to have authentic token volume, higher liquidity. It's all generated by real traders. And in turn, you, the community, gets rewarded for your wonderful support. So yeah, for those who have an interest in this, um, we are running our second trader map with Accuras right now, though this one is a limited trader map. So you can head over to our Twitter page to get all the details. It's running until April 16th if you're interested. And of course, as Rick also said, we're gonna have a small giveaway at the end of the space. So make sure you give everyone a follow, reply with some questions later on, and yeah, make sure you just show us your listing.
Awesome, lovely. Well, Asma, I hope you feel better soon. It's I kid you not, I'm not over exaggerating. is the sixth person I speak to today that joins and has the complete sniffles. I'm just sitting here with a perfectly fine nose. It's not fair.
You start thinking of the times where I'm like, "Oh, I remember when I could breathe through my nose. It was great."
Yeah, nostalgia.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you'll be fine. And otherwise, you bounce the ball to me, and I'll handle it. Cool. Awesome. Let's go around the rest of the table. Honestly, I'll pass the mic to OX Marcus Erkin, but honestly, at this point, I think you're part of the main crew. I think you should be doing the intro for the spaces instead of yourself. But it's good to have you again, man. Always lovely hosting with you. For people that haven't seen you yet, you want to do a quick intro?
Thank you so much for having me again. It's always a pleasure and great to see you guys. So I'm Erkin, and I'm a founder and CEO of OX Markets. So OX Markets is a global markets perps dex that we're currently in the process of building. With the liquidity engine already being live, the community is already has started to provide liquidity and generate real yield. And the liquidity engine is based on BitTensor Subnet 35, so that's a unique proposition with fair launch token and how we avoided sort of inflationary mechanisms. So go ahead, guys, check it out. The yields are still quite great. With a dual reward mechanism whereby liquidity providers get rewarded in native token emissions, which is a fair launch model, and share of platform fees of 50%, which is sort of unprecedented in the space. So once exchange is live, you guys will be able to maximize your yield, and hopefully it goes through the roof for you. In the meantime, there's also testnet, the exchanges in testnet, and we're running an incentivized testnet that you can participate and win up to 22,000 alpha is up for grabs. So enjoy, guys.
Yeah, we've it's been the era of crazy yields. Sometimes I see these 30%, and I think, okay, this there's got to be some kind of caveat, but typically there isn't, or not really. um I
Not
should
really at
probably
all.
just consider doing it, but I keep telling myself, oh, I'm going to lose all my money. I will actually want to touch on that later today as well. It's not totally on topic, but it is interesting to talk about how are those yields actually generated. It's not something you see in traditional finance. Your bank is going to give you 1% if you're lucky and you lock it up for 5 years, at
Yep,
least in the European banks. So it's a huge opportunity.
absolutely. I mean, in our case, we started with 1,300% APY without any exposure to a inflationary token. So liquidity comes in as USDC and stays in USDC. So it doesn't get any more friendly for users than that.
Look, I love 1,300, but I'd already be happy with
Right.
5%. That's already 4 times as much as my bank is giving me. So, I'm not complaining with 5%. You give me 6%, I'll probably buy you a little bit of flowers. 10, 20%, that's already in the, we're talking degen crypto shit here. Oh, my language. We're still on air. All right, cool. Well, it's
Out
great to have
zero
you
X.
again, Erkut.
Likewise, thank you.
Awesome. Then, last but not least, we've got Vincent from Lumera Protocol. Super excited having you guys here as well. Of course, did a rebrand a couple months back, so some of our audience might know you guys still as Pastel Network. Great having you guys on. Vincent, you want to roll with a quick intro?
Hey guys, thanks for having me. My name is Vincent. Basically, lead growth at Lumera Protocol. For those of you, who aren't as familiar with us, Lumera is a purpose, built layer one blockchain designed for decentralized AI and decentralized permanent storage as well. We very much focus on the Web3 interoperability. So regardless of whatever ecosystem you're building on, you can simply leverage the services that we have on our network. We're built off of the Cosmos SDK. So we pair traditional validators on our network as well as supernodes. And these supernodes are basically responsible for all the high-powered infrastructure nodes that run these AI models, store data on our protocol, and as well as perform verification and authentication checks through our Sense protocol as well. So Basically, we sit in the intersection of AI and blockchain infrastructure, which is really relevant, I guess, today's topic for us.
Yeah, extremely relevant. And just for all of our listeners, before we move on, um, what's the difference between a node and a supernode? I mean, is a supernode just has a cape on and maybe an S on their chest, or how
No, no, no.
does
So basically, for us, we have an active set of 50 validators. The validators are responsible for, the consensus, the security, the transactions, and things like that. And then what's the supernode's responsibility is basically running the other services. So when decentralized compute is requested, these supernodes are the ones responsible for running that service, as well as any kind of storage mechanism that is being called upon. So if you're trying to upload a file to store permanently, the supernodes are the ones responsible for facilitating that service.
Perfect. Well, look, we speak with way too many founders or growth leads that take 10 plus minutes to explain parts of their business. I like someone that can do it in 1 minute. I can tell you've done it a couple times. It's good. It's better, especially for this show. We've only got 60 minutes. Probably worth pointing out before we go on to the next intro. Uh, Everybody loves a good product, but what people love even more is a nice prize pool. I think Lumera with season 2 launched in January. There's a lot of cool things to do in the ecosystem, cool prizes. You guys are gearing up for season 3, is that so, or is it still
Yes,
season 2
yes.
going
We
live right now?
No, season two actually wrapped up at the end of March, beginning of April, and we are going to be revamping the service, or this, I guess, prize pool. So essentially, we're in the process of migrating it to a more robust and more seamless, I guess, user experience. So that when people are doing quests and engaging with our community, the reward mechanisms feel a lot better in that way. So we're working hard on that migration. We expect to probably announce season three around end of April. That's what we're aiming for. I'm still very much involved with setting things up, doing the testing, making sure everything is flowing end to end smoothly, so that whenever new people are joining the community, they have a much more pleasant experience.
Lovely. Perfect. Well, great to have you here, man. Very excited to hear your takes on all of these things. I think Lumera is, yeah, like you said before, it's you guys are the perfect project to discuss today's topic with. I don't think anybody would be in a better position to give insightful answers. So, yeah, with all that out the way, give them a follow, guys. Give everyone a follow on the panel. Trust me, we're not doing that much promotions. It's just the introductions, all right? Hang with me. And about the introductions, there's one more last but not least, but Dylan just joined the table. I'm glad you could make it. I saw there was a bit of an overlap, but yeah, awesome that you were able to join in. You want to run with a quick
Thanks.
intro for yourself and your project?
Yeah, absolutely. So just a little intro on me. I began my journey in crypto all the way back as an enthusiast in 2011. And then I was mining and buying Bitcoin by 2013. And then I jumped really headlong into the Ethereum ecosystem, basically from the very start. I'm here in Toronto, and I saw Vitalik's post on bitcointalk.org about Ethereum, and then just basically took the red pill as soon as he wrote it, and jumped into that. And then I was building by 2017, and then was an angel investor, a really terrible angel investor, by the way, which is actually par for the course for angel investing, from about 2017 to 2023 ish. Brought a couple projects to market, including Kyla Network, which was pretty big at the time in the last cycle in 2021. It was Polkadot ecosystem, so it kind of was tied to it was definitely tied to the success and failure, I suppose, of Polkadot. But we had to get to about a 2 billion FTV at the time and stayed there for a while. I got more into decentralized identity recently, pioneered the use of decentralized identifiers and verifiable credentials. Um, and then most recently got into this intersection and convergence of AI plus crypto, specifically the ability to use natural language to kind of like orchestrate different things. In the beginning for Kuvi, it was really just like the idea of making trading easier, but we kind of evolved. So we have this pretty, I think, magnetic tagline, which is that Bitcoin made money programmable, Ethereum made assets programmable, but Kuvi makes strategy programmable. And what we mean by that is basically like the last kind of um, pillar standing of the disintermediation of the traditional financial world is actually strategy itself. And so we allow our users to compose strategy through natural language and take executional pathways in a variety of agnostic platforms, like whether it's on a DeFi wallet or whether it's on a centralized exchange. And yeah, and that's us, and that's me.
Awesome stuff, man. Very, very interesting. I don't think I've heard something like this before. And you've been in the space for some time then, I would assume.
Yeah, yeah. So it's 15 years, at least in terms of
15.
first learning about Bitcoin at the time.
You do know most people retire after 2 years in Web3, right?
Bro, trust me, I've been very up and down. It's like it feels like definitely feels like Dante's Inferno sometimes, but I'm definitely into the idea of pushing ahead. And also I'm just so dug in. Like it's like sunk cost fallacy maybe, or I hope not a fallacy. I hope it's I hope it all makes sense. I think all of us kind of may feel a little disillusioned during these like these parts of the cycle where it seems like hope might be lost, or there's not a lot of market traction, or even just like the general cultural narrative is like against crypto a little bit. And it's important to just like keep your keep your first principles, right? Like if we can make if we can make money, you know, easier to move around and freer for people, like that's enough, right? And then if you can kind of like build on top of that, like I'm sure many other people on the panel are doing and have been doing, then I think that's noble, right?
Yeah, well, no, 100%. I mean, it's first of all, it's respectable to be in this space for 15 years, more than anything, because there's a lot of people that just like to be here when the market is hot, because value extraction. But yeah, from what I've seen, I don't want to make this space into one of those basic Web3, where the general talking points, but it is genuinely something that I've seen. You stick around, you actually, build when the market is a bit more quiet. And then, if you want to stick around for the actual heat up, then you can always extract if you want, right? In a good way, as in then you have your product. And that's one thing that this panel has in common. And that's what I want to lead on today as well. We're seeing multi-cycle builders. You've been here before. Lots of you, even longer than myself, you've seen a lot of threats to blockchain infrastructure, a lot of talking points that have been going around, reasons why you should dump all of your Bitcoin, or reasons why altcoins are never going to make it big. You've heard it all. Now, right now, of course, due to geopolitical tension, that's the direct reason the market is bloody, right? For the past couple of months, that has been the direct reason. But there's been a couple of talking points underneath it that has been stirring up a lot of fear, and a lot of that comes down to AI and quantum computing, right? This idea that somehow our, very secure decentralized technology, which everything that we've all done is built upon, is somehow not going to be secure anymore at all, with the rise of AI, allowing cyber attacks to be far more powerful, quantum computing able to, just essentially overwhelm the network. Bitcoin is one thing, but then there's a lot of projects building on top of Ethereum, Cosmos, any other chains that have been built, such as Lumera and a lot of other projects here on the panel. So that's what we really want to be talking about today. Very curious to start a little bit high level. what the panel thinks of this, just in general. I would like to hear both do you feel this is indeed a threat? Or do you feel it's just another talking point which doesn't hold a lot of merit, both the AI as well as the quantum computing talking point? And B, if you do think that it is a threat, do you feel that translates to your project as well? Is your project going to be under strain if this does end up being what people are saying it's going to be? It's still a whiles away. 2029 is what they're saying. But it's an important discussion nonetheless. Why don't we start with Lumera? I feel like with the decentralized network you've built up and the super nodes powering it all, this has to be something you guys have thought about to some extent.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, to be honest, with regards to like, I guess like AI and quantum, they're both threats, but it's just like maybe AI is more of like a near immediate threat versus quantum. I guess everybody recently on Twitter has been talking about the new model that Claude has been cooking up, or Anthropic, I should say, and how it's like discovering like all these, zero-day exploits or whatnot in a very quick manner, and how they're kind of like deploying it initially for large companies so that they can kind of like find these exploits, give them like a large time window to fix immediately, and then later on release the model to the general public. But in terms of like, I guess, taking over networks and things of that, I don't know. I don't necessarily think AI, at least for us, because we're running on the Tendermint consensus, essentially the end user has to control like a third of the token supply in order to perform any sort of attack on the network. And from a financial standpoint, I mean, technically it can be done, right? Like if there's like some massive, I don't know, government organization that's going rogue and they want to really take down a network, in theory they could, but at the same time, it almost like crushes the value of any network by doing so. So it almost has like a preventative measure built in. It's like, okay, if I, hack this Satoshi's wallet and I now move all these funds, then doesn't that defeat the purpose? Like, unless your end goal is just to like, destroy the network, then sure. But if you're trying to like, have some monetary gain, it almost like incentivizes you not to do that, right? Because then the moment the funds move, everybody's eyes are watching it, and then they're like, oh, there's all this fear, panic sell, and then all the coins that you acquired are technically now worth significantly less, if not going to zero. Um, and in terms of, I guess, like quantum, I think we're still too early to be that worried. I think, from my understanding, um, the quantum machines that are currently operating are around like 1,000 qubits. But I think like it was calculated to be like you need at least like 4 million, sorry, stable qubits in order to break like the hash for Bitcoin. And so if you're looking at it from that perspective, we're still quite far away from doing so. So I think, while yes, it is very important to be very aware and cognizant of these, threats to the things that we're building. At the same time, there's a lot of research that's being done in like setting ourselves up to mitigate these kind of risks going forward into the future. I think AI is more of like security risk in terms of like whether it's like phishing for keys or like attacking smart contracts. I think that's kind of more of like the immediate threat.
Yeah, that makes sense. From what I read, as 2029 was when they said, right? That's sort of the time where we really need to start worrying when this technology might be catching up to reach that capacity. Though I have to say, they've been pushing that forward every year, right? So it used to be 2028 and 2027, and it's been forever that people have been saying, "Oh, that's the D-Day," but at some point, yeah, it's gonna be there. Um, a combination that I would feel is even more dangerous is AI with quantum computing together. That's probably when we really gotta watch out. Yeah, curious what the rest of the panel thinks. Keeping it pretty high level now, but go as in depth as you want. Maybe Dylan, you've seen plenty of talking points against blockchain before? How credible is this compared to what you've heard before?
Um, Believe it or not, I actually remember in like 2014 or 2015 researching like elliptic curve cryptography as an antidote to quantum like issues. So all the way back in 2014, people were talking about this. The theoretical possibility of like quantum computing breaking Bitcoin. Um, I mean, back then I kind of like looked into it. I think at that point there was like a Canadian company, D Wave, if I remember, that had gotten up to like 4 qubits or something like that. I think at the time, I can't remember for sure, but so it's like, this is like not really credible. Um, all that being said, I think that we get continually surprised by the pace of technological change. And if you're a proponent of, say, like Ray Kurzweil, like, and his notion of the law of accelerating returns, like this stuff just seems to happen faster and faster. Like, I actually didn't think that we'd be at this point in terms of like agentic AI, but here we are. Um, so I think you always have to be pretty measured about these things because even though it may seem to you today that that's like not going to happen or far off, it you may get surprised. Um, that's obviously it's not true for things like fusion technology, um, which has been 20 years away for like 60 years. Um, but I think for other things, it could very well be true, particularly for things that aren't reliant on like hard physics, like say fusion technology is. Um, but I think that there's some other things at play here, perhaps, right? Like let's not forget that people make money based on notions about what's hot. So I mean, having been in like the venture capital world, like it's very true that a lot of venture capital like people will like knowingly stir up this shit to make money on like narratives. So yeah, could it be a psyop? Yeah, it probably could, at least partially. Could it be real? Probably could be real. But then let's also like draw back the or widen the aperture a bit to and pan over to like Bitcoin itself and let's say just look at that and its ability to hard fork, right? If things really got fucked up, um, and you know, like it looks like in a matter of months, there's like the 4 million qubits. I actually didn't know that. That's a great tidbit. That would be required to break like Bitcoin. That's like months away. I mean, it would take a huge coordination effort, but essentially, like you could just decide to hard fork Bitcoin to a quantum resistant form of Bitcoin, but totally possible, right? And would the world, even though things like, I mean, obviously, like attempts to say like the debate around SegWit2x, like attempts to do that, or Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin SV in the past, it doesn't work. But I imagine if like world financial systems are all about to break, like everyone will probably coordinate to hard fork Bitcoin. So I actually think that that is like a very interesting social, cultural, coordination, logistical level antidote to any um, possibility of quantum breaking of, say, Bitcoin or other large, I guess, other large cryptographically oriented assets.
Yeah, I like that. It reminds me of something else that I saw a lot of people talking about, which was uh, if 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 quantum is able to break Bitcoin, it's able to break just about anything, right? That's not just blockchain at risk. That's also traditional finance at risk, banking systems at risk, military systems at risk. That is everything at risk. And if you think for a second that the U.S. government, Chinese government, any major power in the world is not going to allocate research to the protection of these systems, then you're a fool, right? There obviously will. So yeah, it's almost like ethical hacking versus hacking, right? They go toe to toe. So as quantum keeps getting more advanced, it's a pretty good chance that so too will be the technology and the defense of it, probably led by governments and very well funded organizations, which its tech could probably be used in a similar way for blockchain technology. Curious what you think, Erkin. Obviously, maybe I just took exactly your talking point and you're like, God damn, I mean, this was the whole thing that I was going to say and now he took it. But let me know what you think.
Take it away. It's great. Great minds think alike, right? Look, to take it to the original question, look, there's 3 different layers, right? First is when you mention AI is an operational and a system layer problem, right? It makes attack vectors don't change. They remain the same. Vulnerabilities, socials, and so on. What changes is the economy around it, and AI allows to massively reduce cost of attacks and also keep them going continuously. So think of any kind of malicious intent, any kind of hacking or attack event is also a business, right? It has cost, underlying cost, and ROI is always at play. So that's what AI, that's the kind of opportunity for malicious intent that AI creates. But equally, there is an antidote whereby people who are building the systems, they're also using exactly the same tools and they can to do preventative measures and to test their systems and to find loopholes and so on. So it goes hand in hand. When it comes to quantum, it's a cryptographic layer risk that essentially breaks signatures, private keys exposures, and so on. Right now, is it real? Yes, of course, it's real. But question is, what is the level of risk and how do we frame this? And the way I look at it is, again, 3 points. First is time of the system being developed to an extent where it's accessible. It's not only important that somebody developed it in a lab and has, like, I don't know, 4 million, 5 million, 100 million qubits. That's not the point, right? You can do whatever you want in a lab. Question is, when can people start accessing these systems, and does it become economically viable, and so on and so forth, right? So things don't happen overnight, things don't fall apart overnight, and there is enough time to prepare, and things will start changing when the threat is imminent and the access is there, right? Otherwise, we're talking about technological developments. Now, when it comes to what you mentioned, I totally agree that it's not the crypto that's at risk, because crypto is designed to be adaptable and quick to implement changes. There are validators, there's foundations that control. There's this bunch of open source contributors and so on and so forth. People are invested in the ecosystems, and people are navigating their own value chains, so they have direct vested interest in contributing to this value chain, right? Centralized systems are at much bigger risk because bureaucracy and politics is going to kill everything. I'll be less worried about Bitcoin and more worried about my HSBC account. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, it's exactly what I was hinting at earlier, right? I feel blockchain is probably more resilient in that sense than a lot of other institutions. Though I have to say, to be completely honest to everybody in the audience here, I don't know. I don't know what the safety setup is of hell, a hospital like administrative backlog. I have no idea how easy that is to hack. I would assume it's not too complicated for a quantum computer plus AI, right? In 2030. So I assume we've got some work to do. But blockchain is literally designed to be decentralized and hard to crack. So there should probably be a number of parts and pieces that fall apart before it's our turn. hopefully giving us a good indicator to I don't know, dump your bags if it worst comes to worst, I suppose. Asma, off to you. I think there's a lot of other cool questions that we can dive into today.
Yeah, kind of staying on the same line as safety and whatnot and security. A lot of people are worried that quantum computers will be used to steal lost Bitcoin from like 15 years ago. So, in your opinion, what could this mean for the future price of Bitcoin? Anyone have a strong opinion on that one that wants to go first? No? Okay. Maybe Dylan, did you have any thoughts? Oh, Lumera. Okay.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Um,
This is
yeah,
happening right now.
no, I think it's just like always talked about. I think people are more concerned about, I think, the early day addresses that have like, lots of tokens locked up. But again, it's just like it depends on what I guess, um, the goal of the acting party is, right? Like, if they're really just trying to like, destroy the value, then yeah, then they could just simply, I guess, like, get access to the private keys and then, send the transactions, do whatever, and it would just instill a lot of fear into the market. But also, it's just like the question of, okay, if it was to happen, then it almost like narrows down to like a handful of parties that could do this, because the first people that will have like a quantum computer powerful enough to do something like that is not your average everyday person. You know what I mean? It's like probably like a government org or a research facility, funded by the government or academics, whatever the case may be. And I think they are probably not incentivized to act maliciously, in that way. But of course, it's hard to say, because at the end of the day, it's human nature and their desires driving, their decisions. But yeah, along the way, I think all of these like contributors to the Bitcoin ecosystem, they'll be working very hard in terms of like upgrading the security in order to be quantum resistant and things like that.
Okay, good to know. That is such an incredibly logical answer. So yeah, it very much is not on the list of things that I'm worried about now. Um, Not that it really was before, but you never know. I don't know if I just kind of put you on the spot there, Dylan, or did you actually want to add something to this?
Um, I don't know if it's particularly intelligent, but I think that there's been Bitcoin kind of up for grabs in different ways, over the course of its history sometimes where, um, I don't know if that's very intelligent, but I don't think it's gonna have probably a huge effect on the price. But then again, like, if there's a quantum situation that results in, you know, you being able to do like, I guess I think I read is like there's an ability to basically get the private keys, parsed from like public key information potentially. Hmm, I don't know. Like if the quantum computers are at that level, don't you think that like there would just be like a lot of people talking about that, and then there would be an effort to switch like to hard fork the network, right? So I don't think it's I think it's probably moot. I think it's probably like moot in the overall scheme, but it might not be. I don't know.
How much Bitcoin is like in lost
That's a good
wallets,
question.
anyways?
I don't even know.
Right.
Could be a
It's a
lot.
lot though,
Could be a
isn't
lot.
it? Yeah,
Could
I
be a
think it's a
lot.
lot. Especially like I think most of it is from early days, when Bitcoin was pretty worthless. People just send it like, oopsie, and just burned 1,000 Bitcoin, to never be seen again. I read it somewhere. Like I'm the least reliable character here on this topic, but yeah, I think it's a lot.
I
Just
just
wanted
did
to
a
add
quick
that.
scan, and it's the estimates are 2.3 to 4 million are lost
That is
forever.
massive. That is a huge chunk of the supply. That's
Yeah,
just
it's pretty big.
And is that Bitcoin that got accidentally burned, or is that just sitting in a lost wallet somewhere?
These this stat is apparently those it's Bitcoin remaining in dormant wallets with lost private keys.
Oh my. You know,
Uh-huh.
unironically, the most
200 billion
deflationary
apparent.
mechanic is us just being bad at transferring Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's the human deflationary mechanics.
Yeah.
You can
Oh.
put that into a white paper on like some L1. We make
Expect
it
a
like you could
5%
be
of
like we make it
supply.
like yeah, we make it like really difficult to store your private keys. We have like a 80-word seed phrase, so therefore it's deflationary.
I love that. You write that down, guys. You write that down. Your token launches are going to be great. Trust me. It'll be amazing for you and not for anyone else. All right. Sorry, Aspak. Please continue.
Um, if Erkin, did you want to add anything else to that? If not, I'll just go ahead with my next question.
Feel free to go ahead. I mean, very quickly. I think the attack is not. There's no difference between whether it's going to be in the lost Bitcoin or not lost Bitcoin. Essentially, any public key with a balance is potentially exposed. But again, exposure to a widespread attack would trigger a sell-off, and it's much safer to execute pinpoint and disguise attacks, not to kind of kill your own horse. And then moving funds into a value retained asset at scale, it takes time. So let's say if somebody gone and collected all this sort of lost or stolen Bitcoin or whatever the case may be, it takes quite a long time, or it's not very easy to just convert it into USDT or whatever. Is very noticeable. So anything of this sort happens, it's much better for it to stay on the radar or to act very slowly and steadily, as opposed to going big boom, and that results in more problems than solutions.
Absolutely. That's another very logical answer to answer that question. And now, kind of still on the same concerns of paranoia, if you will. So, with both the rise of AI and quantum computing in sight, which of the two is the bigger threat to cryptography technology? Any opinions on this one?
I guess I'll go first. I think like both poses threats in its own ways. I think AI right now is more utilized in, I guess, like more in the immediate future, is utilized in a way where it's like executing more sophisticated phishing attacks or deepfake social engineering, things like that, or utilizing it in exploit discovery for smart contracts. I think those are the main two use cases in terms of you know acting maliciously within the crypto universe. I think in social media there was a quite famous clip that was trending for a couple days where people were using video deepfakes. So you join like a meeting call, and this guy looks completely normal and things like that, but behind it is a scammer. And I think the person that was receiving the call, he asked the scammer to put three fingers in front of his face, and the guy refused to do so. So it's quite interesting of like different ways that people are finding to combat, I guess, these more uh, newly designed phishing attacks and social engineering attacks. And I think that is where, you got to be really careful whether you're getting like phone calls from people or, emails, whatever the case may be. You really got to be cautious in navigating that going forward into the future. Um, and I think, again, kind of like talking about quantum, we're still, well, right now, we're kind of still in the early stages of quantum, I would say. I mean, it's been researched for an extremely long time, but we are roughly around like 2,000 qubits, let's say. But in order to get to the point where it will just destroy encryption, or like our existing encryption methodologies, we got to reach like close to 4 million. And I think as of right now, we're still a little bit far away from that. But of course, with the rise of AI, it can maybe accelerate a lot of like advancements in terms of like material sciences and things like that, and research from that vector, which then could accelerate the technology within quantum as well. So it's really hard to say, but I would say, like, as much as people have fears, of, like, it seems like there's over an emphasis on people talking about like these things attacking crypto. When I would say, like, having worked my first job, it's funny, Dylan, like, you're from Toronto. I'm also from Toronto, so you're probably
Hey, what's
familiar.
up, man?
So you're probably familiar with, I used to work at Scotiabank right out of school. And having worked for these, like, large corporations, and you see their systems, they're so archaic, so like slow, and they probably have like so many vulnerabilities. If anything, I would have like less faith in those systems than the systems that are built within crypto.
I just want to say, because I was feeling left out, I am also Canadian,
Oh,
so
nice.
big day for the Canadians today.
Oh yeah.
Dylan, did you want to jump in?
What? Sorry, you caught me a little bit of I actually got sidetracked because someone came into the room here.
No worries. No.
But I heard the Canadian part. My bad. I'm so sorry. But someone's trying to grab my attention. What are we opining on?
So basically, we're comparing the rise of AI and quantum computing. So which two you might believe could be a bigger threat to cryptography technology?
Yeah,
If you need that,
oh,
feel
well, I
free to.
think a bigger threat is absolutely quantum, like absolutely quantum. Because I don't know if that's naive or not. I haven't done enough research on like potentialities with AGI and brute forcing things and blah blah blah. But I mean, my sensibility right now where AI is that, there, and this is derived from like my kind of like experience with being in this like AI trading bot adjacent world where there's this really faulty notion that like you could apply agentic AI to complex systems and it would somehow be better than what's tantamount to like differential equations plus intuition. Because when you have a complex system, like the numbers involved are just like they start going beyond like the heat death of the universe. Like it's the number is just insane, and there's no way to calculate these things. So when it comes to like very complex systems, non-deterministic complex systems that go out into the future, like predictions or the way big markets move and things like that, I think it's like definitely um it's like mathematically impossible. But with quantum, it's a little bit different if you have semi-deterministic or say like semi-deterministic pathways for problems that you're trying to solve. So it's particularly like true with quantum versus like Bitcoin or like, but when it's like super complex systems, I don't think so as much personally on either side.
Very interesting. Ergen, I think I saw you unmute as well. If you want to go ahead.
Sure. I mean, in short, AI is a present threat. It's improving exploits, improving scams, makes it more, cost efficient, as we discussed. Quantum is theoretical at scale, but has a high impact tail risk, right? So, in a nutshell, AI is, think of it as death by 1,000 cuts, and quantum is a potential black swan, especially in the hands of something like North Korea. Hopefully, they don't get there first.
It's not really their style, though, is it? They'd
Oh,
rather just
not at all.
bomb. They'd rather just
Here,
bomb the
same.
data center. It's more like a Russian thing, I would say. They love their cyber attacks. They're good at it too. But
And
yeah, no.
recently, the attacks have been, attacks of more recent times have been attributed by media to some North Korean, groups. But what do I know?
Oh, really? Well, I certainly don't know. I have no idea. I've done 3 cybersecurity spaces, and I'm just scratching the surface on everything that there is to know. Like, it is such a oh my god, like you'll take months just to figure out how deep this stuff goes, but it's fascinating though, really. And guys, completely unrelated, but one last thing I wanted to say is I've never had such a polite panel waiting for everyone to talk and apologizing for being late. Now, you see where this is going. No wonder the whole panel is a bunch of Canadians. I mean, I'm very pleased. You guys are a great crowd to host with. I gotta say, it's I've been hosting with a lot of different people, and every single one of them has their different quirks. Americans, they just open their mic and start talking. Germans, they're always way too conservative. They never talk. Everybody has their stereotype. I'm Dutch myself. I have plenty of stereotypes. I'm only on spaces if it's if there's an upside for me. No, just kidding. All right,
Love it.
cool. Sorry for hijacking it again. We've got 7 more minutes. Asma, why don't we? What do you think? Why don't we do a quick little circle for everyone to talk briefly about all the cool stuff they're doing before we wrap up?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Also, I was just like, tears were in my eyes. I was mentally singing the Canadian national anthem just now. It was really a prideful moment. So thank you. Okay, so I would love to hear for everyone on the panel what is next for your project, and most importantly, how can people get involved? What do we need to know? So let's start with Ergen. Do you want to go?
Sure. So as I mentioned earlier, we're building a global markets exchange for trading of perps of FX, commodities, and crypto majors on chain. You can get involved now. So we've got the liquidity engine is already live and bootstrapping liquidity actively. The APIs are still quite attractive, and you can start providing liquidity for various pools. And you can get involved on the testnet. The exchange is on testnet now, and we've got an active campaign running for the winners share, the top 10 places share 22,000 native token of the BitTensor subnet. So yeah, don't hesitate to get involved. If you have any questions or anything, find us on Discord. We'll be more than happy to help and support you.
Amazing. Thank you for that. Let's hear from Dylan next.
Yeah, so we've got some big stuff coming up, I guess. We've got a TGE May 1st. So look out for that. And our product is in a beta, kind of private beta mode, but it's pretty awesome and revolutionary. I can't wait for you guys to all take part in that. You can go to kuvi.ai and then press launch, and then it'll have a waitlist there. We'd love you to join the waitlist. And we'd love you to follow us at Kuvi Labs on Twitter.
All right, nice. Okay, and last and not least, I would love to hear from Lumera.
Yeah, so everybody, we're very much focused on, spreading the storage protocol towards different ecosystems. We're actively working with a prominent layer 1 on, the Cosmos ecosystem in terms of an integration. We're also working with another newly ZK layer 1. You guys might be able to kind of deduce which one that is in terms of building with them and having them utilize our storage services. For Q2 of this year, we're going to be launching our Sense and Inference protocol on our testnets, and then hopefully that will lead into Q3, Q4 going into mainnet. So we're very much focused on developing all sorts of partnerships across the broader ecosystem, whether it's both in the traditional Web 2 or Web 3 ecosystem. So yeah, for us, follow us on our social media, of course. You'll see all of our latest updates there. We're also going to be, as Rick mentioned earlier, going to be launching Season 3 Foundry. So it's going to be a great opportunity for you guys to participate, engage with the community, earn some Loom tokens, as we also prepare for our centralized exchange listing later this year. So be on the lookout. We're doing a lot of stuff, a lot of activities, a lot of marketing. So stay around.
Incredible. All right, guys, you've heard exactly what it is you need to know, what it is you need to do, and you've heard this amazing panel with all these great answers. So that means there's really only one thing left to do, and that is wrapping this up and doing a quick little giveaway. But before we do that, I just want to say big thank you to our panelists once again, and Rick for being an incredible co-host. And yeah, make sure you give everybody a follow, and pretend you didn't hear my sniffles. Okay, cool. So let's do a quick little giveaway. If you are here, if you were listening, please pop some emotes up. This is just a token of our appreciation to say thank you for our listeners. So the first user I'm going to shout out, and you can go ahead and send a DM to the League of Traders account. So the first one is going to be Sheep of Web3 Sean. I really enjoy seeing that sheep. It's great. So please send us a DM, and then we're gonna pick our second winner. Let's go with Asuki's9. Please go ahead and send the League of Traders account a DM. And that's it for today, guys. We will have another show next week, as we do every Thursday, and we dive into some great topics, and we hope we'll have you there next week as well. All right, thank you, everyone.
Cheers. Thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.